Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Dzkan Toys, where I do reviews and share my thoughts on some of my favorite toy releases. Today we'll be looking at the Dark Knight Returns Batman MAFEX number 106. So let's take a quick 360 view of the box and get the review started. Alright, here we have our glorious Dark Knight Returns Batman unboxed. Let's go over the usual background information of the toy company as well as the character first. In regards to the company, MAFEX is by Medicom Toy. Medicom Toy is a Japanese brand that specializes in creating collectible toys and action figures, founded in 1996. Their main aim is to create collectible pieces of art rather than conventional toys. Thus, often their products are sold in limited quantities. The most popular line of toys they have are Bear Bricks, which is a series of bear-shaped figures imprinted with different designs. I'm sure many of you guys heard of that before. But in recent years, Medicom Toys have also been producing the action figure line known as MAFEX. As for our character Batman, he needs no introduction. He's the world-famous detective hero and a main staple of the DC universe. But the version that we see in front of us is from the story known as The Dark Knight Returns. It's a 4-issue comic book starring Batman, written by Frank Miller, illustrated by Miller and Klaus Janson. The story follows a Bruce Wayne who's at 55 years old, who returns from retirement to fight crime and faces opposition from the Gotham City Police Force as well as the United States government. Furthermore, in the story, we get to see a new Robin being introduced as Batman fights off hyper-violent street gang known as the Mutants. Of course, we have classic foes for Batman returning such as Two-Face and Joker. And the most famous fight within the story have to be the one where Batman ends up fighting Superman. Now let's move on to the aesthetics. I have to say right out of the box, the first impression that I have for this Batman is that the aesthetics looks very nice. It's not what we would usually think about when we think of Batman, but it's definitely a unique version of Batman. Looking at his chin and his face sculpt, you can definitely see some age there, as he's supposed to represent a Batman who's 55 years old. Here's a closer look at the details of the sculpting of the head as well as the chin. Furthermore, in terms of the body sculpting, he definitely looks like a bodybuilder. In regards to the story, being an older version of Batman, you can tell that he takes extra care of his body and has been training very hard daily, and we can definitely see the results in this sculpt work. Compared to a normal Batman figure or compared to a normal version of Batman that usually we would see, this version of the Dark Knight Returns Batman is extra beefed up, and we can definitely see the beefed up version of Batman in all of the sculpting details of the overall design of this body. The muscular sculpt language of this figure also extends to the lower body. Just by looking at the legs, I can definitely tell that this version of Batman did not skip his leg day at the gym. Some other noticeable sculpting details on the figure includes his utility belt, which consists of different pouches that are either single or double buckled in terms of their design. We also have Batman's signature handguard spikes sculpted nicely. They're actually made out of rubber, so this helps with them not breaking easily. Here we can see that they're bendable due to the rubber material design. It's also nice to see that although the back of this Batman figure is most likely going to be covered by his cape most of the time, they did not skip out on the design of the back. We can see here that the back muscular structure of this version of Batman is sculpted nicely and very detailed. Moving on to the paint job. For this figure, the color theme is simple, but it's also a classic Batman color theme that we've been so used to seeing. It's a mixture of black, gray, and of course with the belt being a slight tinted brown. Although some designs of Batman I have seen often that they replace the belt with a pure yellow, but this version of Batman over here is more of a brown or light brown color. Majority of the suit is done in this cool gray color, which looks good whether you're looking from far or close. For the most part, I also have no complaints in regarding the paint separation between colors. As we can see here, the black and the gray over here on the lower shoes connecting to the legs, they look very clean. The same can also be said in regards to the color separation for the gloves and the arms as well. For the paintwork of the belt, it's done in this light brown color that I mentioned earlier, but looking at it closely, I'm not sure how well it shows on camera. We can also see some type of weathering effect used on the utility belt. This is a nice touch, as we can imagine Batman has been through battle many times. The classic Batman symbol on the chest over here is also painted detailedly with no paint bleeding whatsoever going over the edges. As for all of the black paint work used on this figure, there's not much to say here. Black is a hard color to mess up. It covers plastic very easily, and for this figure, it's done decently. So far, you guys probably think I would rate the paint job perfect or near perfect, but there is some minor defects in terms of the paint that I can point out for you guys. If we look closely here at the face, the only paint defect or maybe a minor paint work that could use some improvement for the future is on the cheeks of this figure. I'm not sure how well this shows on camera. If you guys see, there's some sort of base color showing under the skin color on the cheeks. If I would describe it, it looks sort of like a light green or maybe light black color under is probably the base color showing, which means that we could have used another coat or a more detailed paint job application of the skin color on the cheeks. On the contrary, if we flip the face to the other side, this side of the cheek, we can tell it is much better than the other side, and I don't really see the base color showing for this side of the cheek. But even for the side that we do see some minor paint defect, it doesn't bother me too much because it's not that obvious. Alright, now let's go over the articulation. For the head, we have a 360, although at a certain angle is being hindered by the design of the cape here, but it is possible to do 360 if you really tried. Front tilt, back tilt, or look up. Arms go all the way up, 360 rotation, bicep swivel. We also have a nice butterfly joint over here just to show you guys. So I really appreciate it when manufacturers give us a butterfly joint. It's really nice for posing and articulation. Here we have the elbow bend. Finally, for the hand, we have a side to side, also 360. So the side to side can be front or back depending on the angle of the peg here. As for our ab crunch, we have a really nice forwards ab crunch. We can pull off a lot of nice poses. Backwards for the ab crunch. Ab crunch also have a bit of side to side. For the waist, of course, we have side to side. Moving on to the legs, kick all the way forwards, kick all the way backwards. It's not a straight kick as the design of the buttocks material here is a bit harder, so we can't fully kick back. It's more like a sideways backwards kick. For the knees, we have a bend like that. Foot, side to side rotation, front and back. Also the toe pivot. So overall, this figure's articulation seemed pretty good here. Another major selling point of this figure in terms of the articulation is, of course, its cape. Just like the previous Batman Hush that we got from MAFEX, the cape is actually articulated as it is wired. Also, it is in this nice fabric material. So let's check it out. We do have a wire that goes all the way from here to here on the top parts. As for the other edges here, we can see these nice folds in place, but there's no wires inside over here, not in the middle as well. As for the other side, I assume it's the same. So again, no wires anywhere over here, but only one major wire on the very top on each side. But we do have, again, these nice folds that really make it a classic looking Batman cape. So with this articulation, we can do a lot, including something like this that we see. What else can we do? So we can also cover up Batman like that. We can do a one side up and one side down. Dashing down kind of feel for the cape, I guess. Here we have another variation which I actually hid Batman's hand under the cape. I did it by wrapping the wire part around his hand so it looks like he's in combat, but also hiding his hand in the cape to deceive an opponent to give him the advantage during the fight. So overall, big props to MAFEX for including a wired and fabric cape. We no longer have to look for a third-party cape, and he looks awesome straight out of the box with this cape. Now let's move on to the accessories of this Dark Knight Returns Batman figure. In regards to the accessories, we do have one extra head sculpt, 4 sets of extra hand, as well as some batarangs, and that's pretty much it. So first, let's check out the hand that's attached straight out of the box. These are the closed fists. Next, we have a pair of open palms. Here we have a pair of also open palms, but these look like karate chop hands, so we can have Batman doing some karate chops on his enemies. The third set is a set of holding hands, so we can definitely make him hold something. If you have some type of weaponry that you want him to hold that's not included in the figure, I'm sure these hands will do. The final set of hands are what looks to be closed fists again from far away, but if you look closely, there's actually a small hole over here. So this is probably for the batarangs. What we do is just stick them in there like that, and there we go. Let's just focus the camera. While we're talking about the batarangs, here are all of the batarang accessories. As you guys can see, the designs over here are the same, and we get 8 of them. Finally, let's swap the head sculpt to the alternative one. Here we have the alternative head sculpt attached. This one we have a different expression. It's a teeth clenching battle ready expression of Batman. The paintwork is also done nicely over here. We can see the teeth and the lips are painted nicely. On to the size comparisons. Here we have our other MAFEX, which is the MAFEX Hush Batman. So on the camera, actually, the Hush Batman looks quite a bit shorter compared to the Dark Knight Returns Batman. I actually thought they would be around the same size in regarding to the height, but obviously the Dark Knight Returns being more buff and beefier version, but I didn't really expect the height to show this much, especially on camera. Next, we have a Revotech Batman. So again, our Dark Knight Returns Batman is beefier and taller. We have another MAFEX Cyclops. They seem to be closer in terms of height, but Batman still being taller by a bit. Here we have a Revotech Deathstroke. Again, Batman seems to be towering over him by a little bit, but you can definitely take some good pictures with those two. Here's a few more size comparisons with different brands. SH Figuarts, Goku Ultra Instinct Sign. I also have a review of this guy on my channel. Check it out if you guys would like to. He's obviously shorter than Batman. Here's a Mezco Cable. He seems to be around the same height as Batman. Finally, we have a huge one, which is the Storm Collectibles Injustice Bane. They seem to be pretty good together. Here, let's adjust the camera. So we can definitely take some good pictures with these two. Oh yeah, and also during the accessories part, I forgot to show you guys. This Batman does include the typical stand that's included with all of the latest MAFEX releases. It's a nice stand with a few articulation points being here, here, and over here. So it's always nice when manufacturers include a stand for their figures. Final thoughts on today's figure, MAFEX number 106, Batman The Dark Knight Returns. MAFEX have definitely been on fire recently with their different releases. This one and the other one that we just had, the Hush Batman, has all been very good. Even compared to their figures from last year, this year has been a huge improvement. I have to point out, last year there were definitely some quality control issues in regarding to the joints being loose, especially the ankles, such as the Cyclops figure that I had. But this year, they have fixed that with their releases, including this Batman, as well as the Hush Batman. Also for the design, MAFEX is one of the best out there. I really like their sculpting design to make a comic accurate version of Batman. In regards to the paintwork, is also for the majority part very decent, but for this one, the one that I have in front of me, there is a minor paint defect on one side of the cheeks on one of the head sculpts, but that's not too bad. Other than that, I have to give props to MAFEX again for giving us such a lovely wired cape that we deserve on all Batman figures. I hope they continue to have the trend of having wired or soft fabric goods in their future releases. In the end, would I recommend this Batman figure? It really depends on you guys. If you're a hardcore collector of Batman, I say definitely go for it. But if you're a casual collector, I would recommend the MAFEX Hush version released earlier this year, as that one have a design that's more normalized. But if you want a beefier Batman that stands out on your shelf and is more unique looking, then definitely grab this guy. On a side note, if you guys are willing to wait, we're actually gonna get 2 re-releases of this figure in the future. One will be at the end of this year, done in the blue color theme with some different head sculpt and some battle damage design. Next year, 2021, they also said they will re-release this mold, and that one will be in the blue color theme as well, but comes bundled with a Robin figure. I believe those two may be more attractive packages to you collectors out there, but then again, if you want the black and gray version, this is the one to go for. Anyways, there goes the end of the review for today. Hope all of you guys stay safe. Remember to support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. I would really appreciate that. As always, we're out.
you getting nothing, Joker.
Get down.